a group of researchers got people on the street and showed them a clipboard, and they were only shown, one of these forms of the question. One group was only shown, Rosanna just paid $38.24 for new jeans. She got them at a 15% discount. What was the original price? And so then people had to, maybe they would write this on their own, but maybe they tried to guess, maybe they did it in their head. But the average, or the percentage that got this problem right, was only 4%. That's not 49%, that's 4% of random people on the street. Or I don't know what the sample group really was, but I'd like to think it was representative of the population. And, it's not an easy problem. It's, well, you can see it's got decimals and dividing by a decimal, so it's not like an obvious problem that everyone should get right, but at the same time it's not, it's only algebra. So I think they would have got better success if they would have phrased it, or not phrased it different, but done kind of the opposite problem, like a shirt costs the shirt costs, or the jeans cost $44.99 and it's 15% off. How much did Rosanna pay? If they would have asked the inverse question, I think they would have got a better percentage. But still, this is something. It's the same essential question as that, but they got an absolutely terrible amount of people got it right. And then when they were given just the algebra, in my opinion, I kind of like these better, but most people like just having x to solve for and having it really obvious. And apparently the population at large does think that, because 28% of people got this one right. And, it's the same question. It's the same math. It's just people didn't know how to turn these words into this equation. And even then, like, you have to know that there's a coefficient 1 in front of the x, and then subtract, and you get 0.85. And I don't know if they were given a calculator or not, but this isn't really that easy of a algebra problem anyway. But 28% got it, which isn't too good, but it's better than 4%. So that was question number 1. We had 2 sample groups, 1 and 2, and then also in the study there was this sample question, which in the same way had 2 sample groups. Half of them got, Mom won some money in a lottery. She kept $64 for herself and gave each of her 3 sons an equal portion of the rest of it. So that's the algebra part. If each son got $20.50, how much did Mom win altogether? And then also the other group was given the exact same problem, but in algebra. So, just try to guess before I tell you. Which one do you think was more solvable? Which one do you think people got right? This one where it's in terms of money and splitting it up among people, which is something people actually do, or algebra, which, unless you're in an algebra class, you don't really solve for x all too often. I thought this was surprising. The top one, 83% were able to do this. 83% got this one right. They were able to just say, oh, well, if each of them got $20.50, then the 3 of them together got $61.50, and then we add that to the 64 that she kept, and that's the answer. But then on this one, they were like, oh, order of operations. Let's see if I can remember my algebra class. And maybe they tried 64 divided by 3 first, or maybe they divided this by 3 instead of multiplying it by 3, or I don't know what they did wrong. But this is, it's I think equally as daunting as the other one, or maybe a little less so. But for just the algebra portion, 23% got this one right. So you notice on this one, 83%, almost everybody, and not too many. And then up here, the higher one was just the algebra. So So what's the difference between these two problems? That if you have, this one written in words, it's apparently impossible or nearly impossible. But then when this one's written in words, it's almost obvious, and when it's in algebra, it's more difficult. And I think the difference, and I think this was the conclusion that the researchers came up with, is for one thing, this is something that we do every day. This is very practical. Of splitting money up, and it's kind of more with round numbers like the 50, while this is with hard decimals and stuff. But also the big takeaway is that this top one with the new jeans and the 15% discount, it's I think that you absolutely have to put it in this abstract form in a way. Like, you can't just make the logical jump from she paid this much and she got this much discount, so I have to, say you'd have to do 24 divided by 0.85. Like, you have to do the subtraction to get the 0.85, or oh, did I? I didn't type it right. That's supposed to be a 1 here. Whoops. I'm sure someone was very mad at me already. But, yeah, 15%. So you have to do some subtraction to get that, and then you have to divide by a decimal. But, like, just getting to this point, just getting to here, I think is more difficult. But then on this one, you can almost do this in steps more. Like, instead of jumping right to this thing, you can say, well, each of them got 20/50, so I should switch back to my people writing color instead of my test giver color. If each of them got 20/50, then you multiply that by 3, and that's 61/50. And then, she kept 64 for herself, so that accounts for all the money. And it's kind of more clearly phrased where the money came from and everything. Whoops, not 64/40. I don't know. It's sort of still mysterious to me of where the problem is, or what the phenomenon is going on. The words they used in the research was grounded versus abstract representation. So the grounded representation is this first one, where let's see, maybe they meant the abstract was the first problem and the grounded was the second problem. I should have read it more closely, but the abstract, I think, is the algebra. And so they're saying sometimes grounded is better, abstract is better other times. I'll have to put a link to the study in the info bar, because now I'm kind of feeling silly that I don't even know which one is which. But I just think it's an interesting study of how our brains work at math. That, equivalent problems. These are exactly the same problem, just written out differently for us to see, and we get drastically different, especially down here, drastically different percentage of people can get it right.